The stars shone bright and cold through the massive crystal dome of the Galactic Concord's Grand Council chambers. For 3,000 years, peace had reigned among the 17 sentient species spread across thousands of worlds. No wars, no conflicts, no weapons, just endless cooperation and advancement. At least, that was the story everyone told themselves. Ambassador Susan Miller straightened her simple blue uniform and took a deep breath. The room felt too hot, too crowded with alien bodies and minds. As humanity's chief diplomat, she had faced many difficult meetings, but this one promised to be especially tense. Behind her calm face, her mind raced with plans and backup plans. "The emergency session will begin now," announced the clerk, a floating jellyfish-like being whose tentacles glowed with each word. High Chancellor Zelith floated to the center of the chamber. The Ardenti leader's crystalline body sparkled under the artificial lights. The Ardenti had founded the Concord millions of years ago, after they had moved beyond physical limitations and into a state of near godhood. Their crystal bodies were merely vessels they used to interact with younger races. Ambassador Miller, the Chancellor began, her voice creating patterns of light within her crystal form. "Your species has been accused of breaking our most sacred law." Susan stood, feeling the eyes of 100 alien representatives on her. Humans were newcomers to the galactic community, discovered only 800 years ago. Many still viewed them with suspicion. "What exactly am I accused of, Chancellor?" Susan asked, though she already knew the answer. The Vespari delegation leader rose from his coiled position. Ambassador Sithis was 12 feet of muscle and scales, with a face that reminded Susan of Earth's ancient snakes. His scales had shifted from their normal green to a threatening red pattern. "Humans are preparing for war," Sithis hissed, his forked tongue flicking out with each word. "We have proof." Murmurs spread through the chamber. In a society that had known only peace for millennia, this was the worst possible crime. Chancellor Zelith raised her crystalline arms for silence. "The Vespari have provided evidence of what appear to be weapon platforms orbiting your home system. How do you explain this, Ambassador Miller?" Susan activated her datapad and projected images into the center of the room. "These are not weapons, Chancellor. They are mining platforms. See these components here and here? They're designed to break down asteroids, not ships." Sithis slithered forward, his massive body moving with surprising grace. "Then explain why your people maintain historical records of ancient wars. Explain why your entertainment is filled with conflict. Explain why your children play games that simulate violence." Susan had prepared for this line of attack. "We don't hide our past, Delegate Sithis. Humans were once violent, yes, we fought terrible wars, we nearly destroyed ourselves. We keep these memories alive precisely so we don't repeat our mistakes." "A convenient excuse," Sithis replied. "No other species in the Concord glorifies their violent history as humans do." "We don't glorify it," Susan countered. "We remember it. There's a difference." A tall, spindly alien with 4 arms and skin like bark stepped forward. This was Representative Nala of the Trebin, a plant-based species known for their balanced views. "Perhaps the issue is cultural misunderstanding. Humans process their history differently than the rest of us. This is not necessarily a threat." Sithis wasn't satisfied. "Show us your orbital platforms. Allow a Concord inspection team full access. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear." Susan knew this moment would come. The United Earth government welcomes inspection, of course. However, these facilities contain proprietary mining technology. We request that the inspection team include representatives from multiple species, not just the Vespari. Before Sithis could object, Susan added, "And we request the right to inspect Vespari facilities near our border as well. Fair is fair." The chamber erupted in discussion. Chancellor Zelith's form flickered with complex light patterns as she processed the situation. "Your request seems reasonable," Zelith finally declared. "The inspection teams will include members from 3 neutral species plus Vespari representatives. And yes, a human team may inspect Vespari facilities within the agreed parameters." Sithis's scales darkened with anger, but he bowed his head in acceptance. "We will prove what humans truly are," he said. As the meeting adjourned, Susan walked calmly toward the exit. Only when she was alone in the transport tube did she allow herself a small smile. The inspection would find nothing. Humans had become very good at hiding things in plain sight. Meanwhile, 40 light-years from Earth, Commander Alan West stood on the bridge of the research vessel Defender. To any observer, the ship appeared to be a standard Concord science vessel. Its true nature was known only to its human crew. "Report," West said to his sensor officer Jack Rivera. "6 unknown vessels, Commander. They appeared at the edge of the Tau Ceti system 20 minutes ago. They match no known Concord design." West studied the sensor readings. The unknown ships were massive, easily 10 times the size of the Defender. They moved with purpose on a direct course for the human colony on Tau Ceti. "Have they responded to hails?" West asked. "No, sir. They're not using any Concord communication protocols," said Communications Officer Lily Garcia. "I've tried every frequency." West tapped his fingers on the console. Protocol demanded that he notify the Concord Defense Committee, but that committee hadn't actually defended anything in 3,000 years. They would debate, discuss, and form study groups while whatever threat these ships posed became reality. "Send a coded message to Earth Command," West ordered. "Priority Alpha. Then contact Governor Rodriguez on the colony. Begin quiet evacuation procedures." Lily looked up in surprise. "Sir, the Concord prohibits planetary evacuations without approval from the Emergency Response Committee." West met her eyes steadily. "Officer Garcia, if these vessels are friendly, the evacuation will be good practice. If they're not..." He let the thought hang in the air. "Yes, sir," Lily replied. As the message was sent, West looked at the main screen where the unknown ships continued their approach. "Prepare defensive systems," he said quietly. "Keep them hidden until my command." "Sir, that would violate..." his second officer began. "I know what it would violate, Ben," West interrupted. "Do it anyway." Back on Earth, Susan Miller received the coded message in her private quarters at the Concord Embassy. Her diplomatic smile vanished as she read the report from Commander West. "Computer, secure channel to Defense Command," she said. "Channel secure," the computer responded. "Activate Protocol Sleeping Dragon," Susan said clearly. "Authorization Miller 772 Alpha." "Protocol activated," the computer replied. "All defensive units are now on standby alert." Susan stared out her window at the peaceful Concord city, with its perfect buildings and gardens. For 3,000 years, the galaxy had known peace. But humans had never fully trusted that peace would last forever. And now it seemed that distrust would be proven right. The attack came without warning. On the human colony of New Eden, the sky turned black with ships. The unknown vessels blotted out the sun as they descended through the atmosphere. Governor Karen Lewis watched from the emergency bunker as the evacuation ships took off, carrying as many colonists as possible. "How many got out?" she asked her security chief. "About 80%, he replied. "The rest are in underground shelters. We've got 3 hours before the enemy reaches the main settlement." Karen nodded. Her people had drilled for this scenario for generations, always under the guise of natural disaster preparedness. No one in the Concord had questioned why humans were so concerned about disasters that rarely happened. "Activate the defense grid," she ordered. "Ma'am, that would violate..." "I know what it violates," Karen cut him off. "Do it anyway." Across the planet, hidden installations powered up. What had appeared to be simple communication towers now revealed weapon systems. Mining drills transformed into ground-to-air defense platforms. The peaceful human colony prepared for war. Meanwhile, the Galactic Concord was in chaos. The emergency session had been running for 6 hours with no decisions made. Reports of attacks came in from 12 worlds across Concord space. 3 were human colonies, which were holding off the attackers through what the reports called unexplained resistance. The other 9 worlds belonging to various alien species were falling quickly. The massive council chamber was filled with panicked shouting. Species that had known only peace for 3,000 years had no idea how to respond to violence. Susan Miller stood at the center of the storm, her face a mask of calm. Inside, she felt a mixture of fear and strange relief. The thing humans had prepared for in secret was finally happening. No more hiding. No more pretending. Silence. Chancellor Xylith's crystalline form flashed with blinding light. The chamber quieted. We must organize a response. The Concord must stand united. Delegate Sithis, whose homeworld was among those under attack, slithered forward. His scales had turned pale with fear. With what will we fight? We have no weapons, we have no warships, we have no armies. A new voice cut through the chamber. But humans do. All eyes turned to the entrance where Captain Eric Boyd stood in what was clearly a military uniform, though one never seen before, in conquered space. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his eyes were hard as steel. Captain Boyd, Susan acknowledged with a nod. Report. The casual way she spoke, the clear chain of command, shocked many in the chamber. The human ambassador and this military officer were revealing a side of humanity the Conquered had never seen. The attackers are a previously unknown species calling themselves the Krell Dominion, Eric said, walking to the center of the chamber. They appear to be a hive-based collective. Their technology is advanced but focused almost entirely on offensive capabilities. How do you know this? Demanded Chancellor Xylith. Eric activated a holographic display showing a captured Krell ship. Because we caught one. Gasps filled the chamber. Capturing an enemy vessel during an invasion should have been impossible for a supposedly peaceful species. The United Earth government is prepared to offer assistance to all Concord members, Eric continued. We request temporary exemption from prohibitions on weapons technology. You claim to have the means to defend against these invaders? Asked Chancellor Xylith. Let's just say we never fully disarmed, Eric replied. Humans have a saying, hope for peace, prepare for war. The chamber erupted again, this time with accusations of treachery mixed with desperate pleas for help. You lied to us for centuries, Sithis hissed. We bent the truth, Susan corrected. And now we're offering to save your worlds. Chancellor, Xylith's crystal form dimmed as she processed this new reality. What assistance can you provide? We have defense systems hidden on every human world, Eric explained. We have ships that can be quickly converted from civilian to military use. We have personnel trained in combat tactics. And we have production facilities that can be retooled for weapon manufacturing. This is why you insisted on managing your own mining operations, realized Representative Nala of the Trebin. Your mining ships are warships in disguise. Susan nodded. Many of our civilian technologies were designed with dual purposes. We never stopped preparing, even while we embraced peace. Within days, the true face of human civilization was revealed across conquered space. Merchant vessels shed their outer hulls to reveal weapon systems. Orbital mining platforms repositioned to create defense grids. And humans everywhere stopped pretending to be just another peaceful species. On the Liberty, now revealed as a battle cruiser, Eric Boyd directed the defense of the Proxima Centauri system. 3 Krell ships had entered the system, clearly expecting an easy conquest. All ships in position, reported his tactical officer, a young woman named Rita Hayes. Weapon status? Eric asked. All green. Defense satellites deployed and active. Eric studied the tactical display. The Krell ships followed a predictable pattern, moving directly toward populated areas with no concern for strategy or defense. It was as if they'd never encountered resistance before. Begin Operation Thunderbolt, Eric ordered. Across the system, human ships moved in perfect coordination. Unlike the chaotic Krell approach, the human vessels followed a battle plan centuries in development. They struck from multiple angles, targeting the same weak points on each Krell ship. Meanwhile, on Earth, sealed military academies reopened their doors. Officers who had trained in secret, passing combat knowledge from generation to generation, now put on uniforms they had kept hidden for centuries. Admiral Linda Powell addressed the hastily assembled Concord Defense Committee. The alien representatives still looked shocked at the revelations of the past few days. The Krell appeared to be a collective consciousness operating through drone ships, Linda explained, pointing to a diagram of captured Krell technology. We've analyzed their attack patterns and developed countermeasures. With your authorization, we can begin pushing them back within the week. The Vespari representative, not Sithis, but a junior delegate named Hisath, looked at her with a mixture of fear and hope. You speak as if you've fought wars before. Linda's smile was cold. We haven't, but we never stopped planning for them. As the meeting ended, Chancellor Xylith approached Linda privately. Why did humans maintain their military capacity? Why? Not trust in the peace we built? Linda considered her answer carefully. Chancellor, humans tried peace without strength once. It nearly destroyed us. We learned that peace must be protected, sometimes with force. You did not trust us, Xylith observed. We didn't trust that peace would last forever, Linda corrected. History taught us that it never does. As she spoke, reports came in from across conquered space. Human-led defenses had stopped Krell advances on 7 worlds. The supposedly peaceful species that everyone had viewed with suspicion was now all that stood between civilization and conquest. Linda looked at the reports with grim satisfaction. Humanity had prepared for this moment for 3,000 years. They had hidden their weapons, disguised their training, and kept their warrior spirit alive while pretending to embrace total peace. Now the masks were off, and the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The asteroid mining facility in orbit around Jupiter had never looked like much. Its battered exterior and seemingly hodgepodge construction had always made visiting alien dignitaries wrinkle their noses in disapproval. Why couldn't humans build beautiful, elegant structures like the other conquered species? Now, as the outer shell of the facility split apart to reveal a massive shipyard hidden inside, Colonial Governor Frank Dunn smiled at the memory of those snobbish visitors. Status report, he called to his operations chief. 37 vessels ready for immediate deployment, came the reply. Another 53 will be combat ready within the week. Frank nodded with satisfaction. What had appeared to be a simple mining operation was actually one of humanity's largest hidden military installations. Similar revelations were happening across human space as centuries of secret preparation came to light. Governor, we're receiving a priority message from Admiral Powell, his communications officer said. Put her through. Admiral Linda Powell's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined. Governor Dunn, we need every ship you've got. The Krell have broken through at Epsilon Eridani. They'll reach your position in 5 days if we don't stop them. We'll be ready, Frank promised. What about the other conquered species? Are they helping yet? Linda's expression darkened. They're trying, but 3,000 years of peace left them unprepared. The Ardenti are struggling to convert their technology for military use. The Vespari have rediscovered some of their ancient combat instincts, but they have no modern weapons. The others are in even worse shape. So it's mostly down to us, Frank said. For now, Linda agreed. Just like we always planned for. As human forces mobilized across the galaxy, the true extent of their deception became clear. What had appeared to be ordinary cargo vessels unfurled weapon arrays that had been disguised as communication equipment. Civilian pilots executed perfect military maneuvers. Colonial defense forces revealed training and equipment that violated dozens of conquered treaties. In the battle for Proxima Centauri, the human defensive fleet demonstrated tactics that seemed impossible for a supposedly peaceful species. Their ships moved in coordinated patterns that confused Krell targeting systems, while precision strikes disabled enemy vessels rather than destroying them. Commodore Olivia Morris stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Aurora, directing the battle with calm efficiency. Beside her stood an Ardenti observer named Lysith, whose crystalline form trembled slightly each time weapons fire flashed on the view screen. You're only disabling their ships, not destroying them, Lysith noted as another Krell vessel went dark, its engines shut down by a targeted electromagnetic pulse. We need those ships intact, Olivia explained. Each captured vessel helps us understand their technology and weaknesses. This strategy, Lysith said carefully. It seems practiced. Olivia smiled but said nothing. The truth was that humans had run this exact scenario in simulations for centuries. What appeared to be popular entertainment, space battle games, and virtual reality combat simulations had actually been training programs for a war everyone else thought would never come. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Concord Science Directorate gathered in what had once been called the Historical Technology Museum. The museum's exhibits, supposedly showing decommissioned human weapons from before they joined the Concord, were now revealed to be fully functional prototypes and testing facilities. Dr. Peter Collins, the human head of research, led his alien colleagues through rooms filled with active weapon development projects. The Ardenti and Trebin scientists looked around in shock, seeing equations and designs they had never imagined. "You've been developing weapons all along," accused the Ardenti scientist, his crystal form flickering with distress patterns. "We call it contingency planning," Peter corrected. "And right now, it's saving the Concord." He led them to a laboratory, where a captured Krell drone was being dissected. "We've made a breakthrough," Peter explained. "The Krell are a Gestalt consciousness. Individual drones have limited autonomy, but receive strategic direction through quantum entanglement from their central hive mind." The Trebin scientist leaned forward, his bark-like skin cracking slightly as he moved. "How could you determine this so quickly?" Peter hesitated, then decided the time for secrets was past. "Because we've been studying collective consciousness models for centuries. Our theoretical work on hive mind species was actually preparation for encountering something like the Krell. Your species has been preparing for this war for 3,000 years, the Ardenti scientist realized. "Not this specific war," Peter clarified. "Any war. Humans never believed peace would last forever." On the Vespari homeworld, the situation was grim. Krell forces had landed and were advancing on major population centers. The Vespari, once proud accusers of humanity, now found themselves dependent on human military advisors. A small team of human special forces, led by Captain Sam Rodriguez, had been deployed to assist the Vespari. They were teaching the Serpentine aliens how to fight an enemy they had never imagined facing. "Your natural camouflage is an advantage," Sam explained to a group of Vespari volunteers. "The Krell rely on heat signatures and movement patterns. If you can stay still, then strike quickly, you can take them down." The Vespari leader, a battle-scarred female named Shisaa, watched as her people practiced the human combat techniques. "How do you know these tactics will work? You claim to have never fought a war." "We haven't," Sam said. "Not in 3,000 years. But we never stopped thinking about how we would fight if we had to." Shisa's tongue flicked out, tasting the air. "Your people lied to the Conquered." Sam shrugged. "We bent the truth, and now we're saving your world." Later that day, after the Vespari had demonstrated surprising aptitude for guerrilla warfare, Shisa approached Sam again. "Why did humans maintain this knowledge, this readiness for violence?" Sam thought about the question. "Earth was nearly destroyed by war long ago. When we joined the Conquered, we wanted peace as much as anyone, but our history taught us that peace must be protected, sometimes with force. The other species forgot this lesson," Shisa said thoughtfully. "They had the luxury of forgetting," Sam replied. "Humans never did." Back in human space, civilian workers across 3 star systems transformed mining facilities into shipyards with remarkable speed. What should have been a complex conversion process took only days, revealing that the facilities had been designed for this purpose all along. In the Arcturus system, a group of Conquered officials toured what had been registered as a solar research station. The human guide, Chief Engineer Diane Clark, now proudly showed them the reality, a massive weapons development center. "This entire section produces shield generators," she explained, "and over here, we design and build energy weapons that can penetrate Krell defenses." "How long has this facility existed?" asked the Trebin representative. 200 years, Diane said. "It was one of the first dual-purpose installations we built after joining the Conquered." "Dual purpose," the Trebin repeated. "A convenient term for deception." Diane stopped walking and faced the alien delegates directly. "Would you rather we had been fully honest and had no weapons to fight the Krell with? Would you prefer principles over survival?" The delegates had no answer. Their worlds were now dependent on the very military capacity they would have condemned just weeks earlier. As the third week of the war began, a remarkable pattern emerged across human settlements. Civilians transitioned smoothly into military, roles following contingency plans centuries in development. Asteroid miners became artillery specialists, transport pilots executed complex military maneuvers, medical centers deployed advanced trauma protocols developed theoretically, but never before implemented. In the conquered Central Archives, the Ardenti High Chancellor Xylith visited Earth's War Museum, long disguised as a historical archive. Studying the exhibits of ancient conflicts which now revealed themselves as carefully maintained military knowledge, she finally understood. "You never disarmed," she said to Susan Miller, who had accompanied her. "You just redefined your weapons." Susan nodded. "We hoped we'd never need them. But you never trusted peace enough to truly embrace it," Xylith observed. "No," Susan admitted. "Humans learned the hard way that peace is fragile. It must be protected by those willing to fight when necessary." As they spoke, reports arrived from across the front lines. Human-led forces had halted the Krell advance on 9 systems. The tide was beginning to turn. 6 months after the Krell invasion began, the tide of war had turned. Human-led Concord forces had reclaimed 17 systems, pushing the Krell back to the edges of known space. The other Concord species, who had known only peace for thousands of years, were slowly learning how to fight. But everyone understood that without humanity, the galaxy would have fallen. Admiral Kevin Marsh stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Defiance. Around him, officers worked with quiet efficiency, coordinating the movements of the largest battle fleet assembled in 3 millennia. The massive view screen showed hundreds of ships, most of human design, but now with crews from all conquered species. "Admiral, the Krell command ship has been located," reported his tactical officer. "It's hiding in the asteroid belt of the Sigma Draconis system." Kevin studied the sensor data. After months of fighting, they had finally found the heart of the enemy, the central hive mind that directed the Krell forces across the galaxy. "Send word to all fleet elements," Kevin ordered. "Operation Final Stand begins in 6 hours." Standing beside him were representatives from all Concord species, finally united in a common defense. The Ardenti delegate, a crystalline being named, Sylar, glowed with nervous energy. "Are you certain this strategy will work?" Sylar asked. "The Krell have proven highly adaptable." "They adapt to immediate threats," Kevin explained, "but they've shown no capacity for long-term strategic thinking. They expected to find easy prey, advanced civilizations with no defenses." He allowed himself a small smile. "Instead, they found humanity." "They found all of us," corrected Trall, the Treban representative. His bark-like skin had hardened into natural armor after months of combat stress. "Yes," Kevin acknowledged with a nod. "They found all of us together, but they both knew the truth. Without humanity's secret military preparations, there would have been nothing left to save." As the fleet prepared for the final assault, Kevin received a communication from Earth. Vice Admiral Beth Wilson appeared on his private screen, her face showing the strain of months of warfare. "Status report, Admiral Marsh," she requested. "We're ready," Kevin replied. "The combined fleet is in position. The Krell don't appear to have detected our approach." Beth nodded. "The Conquered Council has approved the final battle plan, but they're nervous about the level of force we're proposing. Some are suggesting we offer peace terms before attacking." Kevin struggled to hide his frustration. Even after months of brutal warfare, some conquered species still clung to the belief that peace could be achieved through dialogue alone. "The Krell have shown no interest in communication," he pointed out. "They view other species as resources, to be harvested, not equals to negotiate with." "I know," Beth said. "But 3,000 years of peace left deep marks on these civilizations. They still don't fully understand the nature of this enemy." "Then we'll have to understand it for them," Kevin said firmly, "just like we've been doing since this war began." Within hours, the massive fleet moved into position around the Sigma Draconis system. Human ships led each battle group, with vessels from other Concord species providing support. The tactics they followed had been developed through centuries of human military simulations, now put into practice for the first time. On the bridge of the Defiance, Kevin addressed the fleet commanders through a galaxy-wide communication channel. "This enemy thought they found a soft target," he said. "They detected advanced technology but no apparent weapons. They thought they'd found a wealthy, undefended civilization, but they found something else instead. They found humanity, and through us they discovered that the conquered is stronger than they ever imagined." Across the fleet, crews of all species listened to his words. Humans stood shoulder to shoulder with Ardenti, Vespari, Trebin, and others, former accusers now allies in a desperate fight. "Today we end this threat," Kevin continued. "Not just for ourselves but for all who come after us. The peace we build tomorrow will be stronger because we remember how to defend it today." The battle began with precision strikes against Krell outposts surrounding the command ship. Human vessels moved with practiced coordination, opening paths for their allies to follow. The other species, though less experienced, fought with growing skill and determination. On a Vespari attack ship, Commander Shisea led her squadron with a ferocity that would have shocked her people before the war. 6 months ago, she had been a cultural attaché. Now she commanded fighters with the skill of a born warrior. "Target their communication nodes," she ordered her pilots, using combat tactics taught by human advisors. "Cut off their connection to the hive mind." Meanwhile, Ardenti ships use their advanced energy manipulation technology, once used only for peaceful research, to disrupt Krell defensive shields. The crystalline beings who had founded the Concord had rediscovered their ancient capacity for warfare, guided by human strategic thinking. As the battle raged, the combined fleet pushed closer to the Krell command ship, a massive structure twice the size of the largest Concord vessel. Its surface bristled with weapons and swarms of drone ships protected it from all sides. "All ships, execute Formation Delta," Kevin ordered. "Concentrate fire on Grid Section 17. The fleet responded as 1. Human and alien vessels moving in perfect coordination. Years of secret human training exercises, disguised as recreational activities or theoretical studies, now paid off in real combat efficiency. After 3 hours of intense fighting, the fleet finally broke through the Krell defenses. The massive command ship, its protective screen shattered, tried to escape to faster-than-light speed. But human interceptors, piloted by men and women who had prepared for this moment their entire lives, disabled its engines with precision strikes. "The Krell flagship is immobilized," reported Kevin's tactical officer with barely contained excitement. "Their defensive systems are failing." "Open a communication channel," Kevin ordered. "Let's see if they want to talk now." To everyone's surprise, the Krell responded. A strange, multi-voiced transmission came through, the sounds translated by Concord technology into understandable words. "You offer peace now?" asked Susan Miller, who had transitioned from ambassador to strategic advisor and stood beside Kevin on the bridge. "After all you've destroyed?" "We did not anticipate resistance," came the translated Krell response, a chorus of overlapping voices speaking as one. The Concord appeared defenseless, ripe for harvesting. "We have encountered no species with both advanced technology and martial prowess." Susan exchanged glances with Kevin before responding. "That's the irony. We maintained peace for 3,000 years not because we forgot war, but because we remembered it too well. The terms of surrender were non-negotiable. The Krell would withdraw from conquered space forever or face total destruction. After a brief internal communication within their hive mind, they chose to retreat beyond the galactic rim. In the aftermath, the Conquered was transformed. Under human guidance, a defensive fleet was established, drawing personnel from all member species. Military history and strategy became required diplomatic training. Jordan Baker, once a cultural historian, but actually a human military strategist, established the first official Conquered military academy, with cadets from 17 species. At the ceremony marking victory, Governor Diane Russell addressed representatives from across the galaxy. The Great Chamber, once used only for peaceful, Discussions now displayed the battle flags of the combined fleet. Humans smirk at war not because we enjoy it, she told the assembly, but because we've never had the luxury of forgetting it. Peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the strength to face it when it comes. She looked around at the gathered representatives, Ardenti, Vespari, Trebin, and others, all changed by the experience of war. The conquered survived because hidden within 3,000 years of peace was humanity's quiet vigilance. We smiled knowingly when accused of warmongering because deep down, we were the guardians no one knew they needed. The new Concord Treaty, unlike its predecessor, did not forbid military development but regulated it under a doctrine humans had once called peace through strength. As humanity shared its long-hidden defensive technologies and strategies, the galactic community began to understand the paradox. The species that most remembered war was the one most committed to maintaining peace, and as new threats emerged, from the darkness between stars, the 17 species stood ready, no longer naive about the fragility of peace, no longer unprepared for its defense. In his private quarters on Earth, Admiral Kevin Marsh looked out at the stars and allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had fulfilled its ancient promise to itself. Never again would they be caught unprepared. And in doing so, they had saved not just themselves, but an entire galaxy. The smirk that humans were famous for wasn't arrogance. It was the quiet confidence of those who had kept watch while others slept, who had remained vigilant through 3,000 years of peace because they understood a simple truth. Sometimes, to maintain peace, you must be ready for war.